John Carter stood in the center of the massive Galactic Council chamber. His hands were steady at his sides, but inside he felt his heart beating fast. Around him, hundreds of alien beings sat in tall chairs that reached toward the ceiling. Their eyes, tentacles, and other strange body parts all focused on him. The Zephyrian counselor floated above the others. Its body looked like living crystal, and when it spoke, the sound filled the entire room like wind through glass. "Ambassador Carter of the human species," it said, "you stand before this council to hear our final judgment." John had been Earth's voice in this chamber for 5 years. He had argued, pleaded, and negotiated with these aliens who saw humans as nothing more than violent children. Today he knew his words had finally run out. "The human species has shown itself to be dangerous," the counselor continued. "You expand too quickly. You refuse to follow our laws. Your military acts without asking permission first. You build weapons when we tell you to stop." In the viewing gallery above, Captain Lisa Hayes watched through the thick glass. She wore her dark blue uniform with 3 silver stars on her shoulders. Her ship, the Earth defense vessel Horizon, waited in orbit above the council station. Her crew of 300 humans were ready for whatever came next. Lisa touched the communication device in her ear. "Admiral Rodriguez, are you hearing this?" "Every word, Captain," came the voice of Ben Rodriguez from his command ship 3 light years away. "Our fleet is ready. If they want us gone, we'll leave, but we'll do it our way." Back on Earth, President Kate Morgan sat in the Oval Office with her advisors. Large screens showed the council chamber where John Carter waited for the aliens to finish their speech. Kate had been president for 2 years, and this moment would define her time in office. "Madam President," said her military advisor, "all evacuation ships are ready to launch. We can have every human out of council space in 70 hours if needed." Kate nodded but kept watching the screens. She had known this day might come. The council feared humans because they were different. Where other species asked permission, humans acted first. Where others followed old ways, humans created new ones. Where others accepted limits, humans pushed boundaries. The crystal alien continued speaking. "The council has voted. The decision is final. Humanity is banned from all council space. You have 72 standard hours to remove all human presence from our territory." John Carter stepped forward. His voice was calm and clear. "Counselor, we accept your decision. But understand this, you are not sending us away to die. You are giving us freedom to become what we were always meant to be." Some of the alien council members made sounds of anger or surprise. The draconian representative, a large lizard-like being with sharp teeth, hissed loudly. "Humans think they are special. You will learn how small you really are in the dark space beyond our borders." "Perhaps," John said with a small smile, "but we will learn it together as humans always have." In space above the station, Captain Hayes received her orders. "All ships, this is Horizon Actual. Begin evacuation protocol. Contact every human, settlement, every research station, every mining operation. We have 3 days to pack up our entire civilization." The next hours moved like a storm. On Earth, Commander Alex Turner coordinated the largest movement of people and equipment in human history. Massive cargo ships loaded with factories, computers, and scientific equipment. Transport vessels filled with families carrying whatever they could take from their homes. Dr. Maria Santos worked without sleep in her laboratory. She was copying every piece of human knowledge onto portable drives. "If we're starting over," she told her team, "we're taking everything we've learned with us." Her assistant, Dr. Paul Henderson, helped pack the quantum research files. "Dr. Santos, the council thinks they're punishing us. What if they're actually setting us free?" Maria looked up from her work. "Paul, that's exactly what they're doing. They just don't know it yet." Across human space, the evacuation continued. Mining Station Alpha in the Centauri system shut down its operations. Engineer Roy Campbell watched his workers load the massive drilling equipment onto cargo ships. 15 years we've worked this asteroid field," he said to his foreman. "Pulled out enough rare metals to build 1,000 ships." "What do we do now, Roy?" asked the foreman. Roy looked at the stars beyond council space, where humans would have to make their new home. "We find better asteroids. And we build 2,000 ships. On the military base at Alpha Station, Commander Nancy Phillips gathered her soldiers. They were the best fighters humanity had produced, trained to protect human colonies from pirates and hostile aliens. "Listen up," she told them. "The Council wants us gone because they fear us. They should." Her soldiers looked worried. They were leaving behind everything they had known, heading into unknown space where anything might wait for them. "Commander," one soldier asked, "what if there's nothing out there but empty planets and hostile aliens?" Nancy smiled the way she did before a difficult battle. "Then we'll make the empty planets into homes and we'll teach the hostile aliens to leave us alone." Ships launched from every human world and station. Families said goodbye to the places where they had been born. Scientists packed up laboratories that had taken decades to build. Soldiers loaded weapons and equipment for battles that had not yet been fought. President Morgan gave one final speech to the galaxy. "To the Galactic Council and all who watch, humanity thanks you for this opportunity. You see our independence as rebellion. You see our strength as danger. You see our growth as a threat. You are right about all of these things. But you have made one mistake. You think sending us away will make us disappear. Instead, you have given us the greatest gift possible, the chance to show the galaxy what humans can really do when no one is telling us we cannot do it." The human exodus took exactly 71 hours and 37 minutes. Every ship, every station, every human presence vanished from Council space like morning mist. The Council members congratulated themselves on removing the human problem. They did not know they had just created something much more dangerous than a rebellious member species. They had created a nation of exiles with nothing to lose, everything to prove, and the endless darkness of space in which to do it. John Carter's ship was the last to leave Council space. As they passed the boundary, he looked back once at the lights of the Council station. "Goodbye," he said quietly. "Thank you for teaching us that we never needed you at all." Captain Steve Johnson's ship drifted through the dark space beyond the Council borders. His scanners showed nothing but empty void ahead, just like they had for the past 6 months. Behind him, a convoy of 300 human ships waited for his signal. "Captain," his navigator called out, "I'm reading something strange ahead. It looks like a star system, but the Council charts show nothing here." Steve smiled for the first time in weeks. "Then the Council charts are wrong. Take us in closer." "What?" They found changed everything. 7 planets orbited a young star, and 3 of them could support human life with basic terraforming. The 4th planet was rich with metals and rare elements. The Council had missed an entire system full of resources. "Send word back to the fleet," Steve ordered. "We found our new home." 2 years later, the planet they named New Terra looked nothing like the barren rock Steve had first discovered. Helen Wright stood on the observation deck of the colony's main building, watching construction robots build new homes and factories. As colony director, she had turned a dead world into humanity's first foothold beyond Council space. "The population just hit 50,000, her assistant reported. "And the mining operations on the 4th planet are ahead of schedule." Helen nodded, but her face showed worry. "What about food production? Still behind target. The soil is harder to work than we expected." Helen had learned that building a new world was more difficult than any Earth government had imagined. Every day brought new problems. Equipment broke down in ways it never had on Earth. The weather patterns were strange and unpredictable. Simple things like growing food became major challenges. But humans adapted. They always did. On Mining Station Alpha, orbiting the resource-rich 4th planet, engineer Roy Campbell had pushed his teams to work miracles. The massive mining platforms pulled metals from the planet's crust faster than anything the Council had ever built. "Roy, we're pulling out 10 times more ore per day than our Earth operations ever managed," his foreman reported. "How is that possible?" Roy wiped the sweat from his face. "Because we're not following Council regulations anymore, we're doing it the human way." The human way meant taking risks the Council would never approve. It meant building bigger machines, digging deeper holes, and pushing every system to its limits. It was dangerous work, but it produced results. When hostile aliens attacked the outer settlements, Humans learned another hard lesson. The pirates were species that the Council had also rejected, but unlike humans, they had turned to raiding and violence to survive. Commander Nancy Phillips received the distress call on Frontier Station, humanity's most distant outpost. Unknown. Ships approaching Settlement 7. They're not responding to communication attempts. Nancy had been expecting this. All defense teams, prepare for combat. These pirates think humans are easy targets because we're new here. Let's show them how wrong they are. The battle lasted 3 hours. The pirate ships were larger and had more weapons, but they fought like they expected humans to run away. Instead, Nancy's pilots used tactics no Council species had ever seen. They worked together like pack hunters, using speed and teamwork to overcome superior firepower. When the battle ended, 2 pirate ships were destroyed and the rest fled back into the void. But the victory came with a cost. Settlement 7 was damaged and 12 humans had died defending their new home. Nancy stood among the wreckage, her uniform torn and dirty. This won't be the last attack, she told her soldiers. We need to be ready for worse. The breakthrough came from Dr. Paul Henderson's laboratory on New Terra. For months, he had been working on a problem that seemed impossible. How could scattered human settlements produce everything they needed without the massive industrial centers they had left behind on Earth? His answer was quantum manufacturing. Instead of building huge factories, humans could build small devices that created whatever they needed from basic materials. The technology existed on Earth, but Council regulations had limited its development. Helen, you need to see this, Paul called to the colony director. He held up a small device no bigger than a briefcase. This machine just built a complete communication system from metal ore and sand. Helen stared at the device. How long did it take? 47 minutes. On Earth, building that same system would take weeks in a factory. Paul grinned. That's the point. We don't need factories anymore. Every settlement can build whatever it needs. The quantum manufacturing breakthrough spread through human space like wildfire. Within months, settlements that had struggled to produce basic tools were building advanced technology. Colony ships that had barely survived the journey from Earth were transforming into industrial centers. Admiral Ben Rodriguez watched the transformation from his command ship, now stationed at New Terra's orbital defense platform. The scattered refugee fleet he had led beyond Council space was becoming something entirely new. Admiral, his aide reported, we now have 47 settlements across 12 star systems. Total population is approaching 5 million. Ben studied, the tactical display showing human expansion. And military strength? Growing faster than we can train new officers. Every settlement wants its own defense force after the pirate attacks. The pirate raids had become more frequent as word spread about human settlements, but they had also made humans stronger. Every attack taught new lessons about fighting in the void beyond Council space. General Chris Adams had taken command of human military forces, and his protege, Colonel Jane Thompson, was developing new ways of fighting that used human strengths. Where Council species relied on heavy armor and overwhelming firepower, humans used speed, creativity, and the willingness to take risks that terrified their enemies. The key, Jane explained to her officers, is that we don't fight the way they expect. Council military doctrine is thousands of years old. Their enemies know what to expect, but we're something new. 5 years after the exodus from Council space, humanity had built something unprecedented. The scattered settlements had grown into thriving colonies. The desperate refugees had become confident pioneers. The species that the Council had banished, as too dangerous to control, had proven exactly why they were right to be afraid. On New Terra, Helen Wright stood where she had 5 years before, but now she looked out over a city of gleaming towers and busy spaceports. Ships arrived daily with new colonists and supplies from other human worlds. Director, her assistant said, we just received a message from the Deep Space Scouts. Captain Johnson found 3 more habitable systems. Helen smiled. The galaxy was vast, and humans were just getting started. The Council had tried to contain them within their borders, but the endless darkness beyond those borders was becoming humanity's greatest opportunity. Somewhere in that darkness, other species watched and waited. Some were hostile, like the pirates. Others were simply curious about these strange newcomers who built cities where there had been empty space and turned barren rocks into thriving worlds. But all of them were beginning to learn the same lesson. The council had learned too late. Humans were not a problem that could be solved by sending them away. They were a force that grew stronger every time someone tried to stop them. 20 years had passed since the great exodus from council space. President Derek Walsh stood on the balcony of the Federal Palace on Liberty Prime, humanity's new capital world. Below him, the city stretched to the horizon, its towers reaching toward the stars. Millions of humans lived and worked here, and billions more called the 47 systems of the Human Federation their home. "Mr. President," his aide announced, "Admiral Foster is here for the morning briefing." Derek nodded and walked back inside. The woman who entered wore the crisp uniform of the Federation Navy, with 5 stars on her shoulders. Admiral Karen Foster had been a young lieutenant when the Council banished humanity. Now she commanded the most powerful fleet in this part of the galaxy. "Admiral, what's the status of our border patrols?" Derek asked. Karen activated the holographic display that showed the Federation's territory. "Sir, we've had 17 encounters with Council scouts this month. They're testing our defenses, trying to figure out what we've become." "And what have we become?" Karen smiled. "Something they never expected. Our newest ships are faster and more powerful than anything in the Council fleet. Our technology is advancing faster than theirs ever did, and our people are no longer afraid of them." Derek studied the display. The Federation controlled more space than some of the major Council species. "Any word from our deep space expeditions?" Captain Miller's trade fleet has made contact with the neutral zone colonies. They're very interested in our quantum manufacturing technology, and our prices are much better than what the Council offers. Gary Miller's merchant ships had been exploring beyond Federation space for 5 years. What they found amazed everyone. Dozens of independent worlds and small colonies existed in the space between major powers. Many were unhappy with the Council's high prices and strict trade rules. Gary himself was meeting with traders on the neutral world of Crossroads Station. The alien merchants looked at the samples of Federation technology with obvious interest. "This manufacturing device," one of them said, "it can really build a complete starship engine in 6 hours?" "That's right," Gary replied. "And at half the cost of Council-built engines. Plus, we offer fair trade agreements. No exclusive contracts, no tribute payments." The alien traders exchanged glances. The Council demanded tribute from all neutral worlds that wanted to trade with them. It was one of many reasons why independent colonies were looking for alternatives. "Mr. Miller," another trader said, "there are rumors that humans were banished from Council space. Is this true?" Gary grinned. "Best thing that ever happened to us. The Council thought they were getting rid of a problem. Instead, they created their biggest competition." Back on Liberty Prime, Ambassador Linda Clark was meeting with representatives from species that the Council had also rejected. The Saurians were reptilian beings who had been exiled for refusing to give up their warrior culture. The Christek were silicon-based life forms that the Council claimed were too alien to understand. Ambassador Clark, the Saurian leader said, "Your Federation offers equal membership to all species. This is unusual." Linda nodded. "The Council banished us for being different. We learned that being different is actually a strength. Each species brings something unique to the Federation." The Christek representative, a being that looked like living crystal, spoke in harmonic tones. "Our people have advanced crystal technology. We can grow computer systems that are far superior to mechanical ones. And our warriors are the finest in the galaxy," the Saurian added. "But we need advanced weapons and ships to reach our full potential." Linda smiled. "The Federation can provide those. In return, we gain allies who understand what it means to be rejected by the Council. Together, we can build something better than what they offer." The Treaty of Outcasts was signed 3 weeks later. The Saurian Confederacy and the Christek collective joined the Human Federation, bringing their populations and technology with them. Other rejected species began sending ambassadors to Liberty Prime, asking about membership. The Council learned about the treaty from their spies, and panic spread through their chambers. The Draconian representative, a large lizard-like being, slammed his fist on the table during an emergency session. "The humans are building an alliance of our enemies," he roared. "They must be stopped before they become too powerful." The Zephyrian counselor, the same crystal being that had banished humanity, spoke with concern. "Our intelligence reports suggest that the Human Federation now controls territory larger than 3 council sectors. Their military is stronger than we calculated." The truth was even worse than they knew. Admiral Foster's fleet had grown far beyond what the Council could match. The Federation's newest ships, built with Christek computer systems and Saurian weapon designs, were marvels of engineering. The HSF Endeavour, Foster's flagship, was the most advanced vessel ever built by the Federation. Its quantum engines could travel faster than any Council ship. Its crystal-grown computers could process information and make decisions in ways that amazed even human engineers. Captain Amy Cooper, the Endeavour's commanding officer, ran daily training exercises with her crew. "Remember," she told them, "we're not just representing humanity anymore. We're the Federation Navy. Humans, Saurians, Christek, and 12 other species work together on this ship." The integration of different species had created unexpected advantages. Saurian warriors brought combat instincts that made human tactics even more effective. Christek engineers could grow computer systems that adapted and learned in real time. Other species contributed their own unique abilities. Commander Rick Barnes, the Endeavour's fighter squadron leader, worked with pilots from 6 different species. "The Council teaches that different species can't work together," he told his pilots. "Every day we prove them wrong." The Federation's rapid growth caught the attention of neutral worlds throughout the galaxy. Trade Captain Miller's reports described entire systems asking for Federation protection from pirates and hostile neighbors. "They're not asking us to conquer them," Gary reported to President Walsh. "They want to join us because we treat our members as equals. The Council has subjects. We have partners." The difference was becoming clear to everyone. Council species had to follow strict rules and pay tribute to the dominant races. Federation members contributed their strengths and shared in the benefits. The choice was obvious to many independent worlds. When the Council finally sent a diplomatic mission to meet with Federation representatives, they found a civilization that had grown far beyond their worst fears. The humans they had banished as dangerous primitives had become the leaders of a multi-species alliance that rivaled the Council itself. The Federation's response to the diplomatic mission was simple. They welcomed the Council ambassadors with respect and offered to discuss mutual trade agreements. But they made it clear that the days of asking permission from the Council were over. President Walsh's message to the Council was broadcast throughout the galaxy. 20 years ago, you banished us for being different. You were right. We are different. We believe in freedom, cooperation, and the right of all species to determine their own destiny. Thank you for giving us the chance to prove that our way works better than yours. The attack on Haven Colony came without warning. The peaceful farming world had declared independence from the Council just 6 months earlier, hoping to join the Human Federation. Now draconian warships surrounded the planet, their weapons aimed at cities full of innocent families. President Derek Walsh received the emergency transmission in his office on Liberty Prime. The image on his screen showed smoke rising from Haven's capital city, while draconian ships circled overhead like hungry predators. "Mr. President," the Haven Colony governor pleaded, "they're demanding we surrender and return to Council control. If we refuse, they'll destroy our cities. We have no military ships to defend ourselves." Derek's jaw tightened. This was the moment he had been preparing for since becoming president. The Draconians were testing the Federation, seeing if humans would really fight to protect others or if they only cared about themselves. "Admiral Foster," Derek said into his communicator. "How quickly can we get ships to Haven?" Karen Foster's voice came back immediately. "The Third Fleet is 2 hours away. Commander Barnes and his fighter squadrons can be there in 90 minutes. Do it. And Admiral, send a message to the Draconian commander. Tell them they have one chance to withdraw peacefully." Admiral Foster smiled as she prepared her orders. The Draconians had made a serious mistake. They thought Haven Colony was defenseless because the Council had always protected its member worlds poorly, but Haven had asked for Federation protection, and the Federation kept its promises. Commander Rick Barnes led the first wave of Federation fighters through hyperspace toward Haven. His squadron included human pilots, Saurian warriors, and Christek, fighters whose ships could change shape during combat. "All squadrons, this is Phoenix Leader," Rick announced. "We're about to show the galaxy what happens when someone attacks Federation civilians. Stay tight and follow your training." The Draconian Fleet Commander, General Voss, was confident as he watched his ships surround Haven Colony. His 15 heavy cruisers carried enough firepower to destroy the planet's surface. The primitive humans would never dare challenge the mighty Draconian Empire. "Sir," his sensor operator reported, "I'm detecting incoming ships. Small craft, moving fast." "General." Voss looked at his tactical display. 50 fighters were approaching at incredible speed. "Fighters? They send fighters against battleships. These humans are even more stupid than the Council claimed." He was about to learn how wrong he was. Rick Barnes led his squadrons into this battle zone, their ships moving in perfect formation. The Federation fighters were smaller than Draconian ships, but they were faster, more maneuverable, and equipped with weapons that could punch through heavy armor. "Phoenix Squadron, take the left flank. Talon Squadron, you have the right. Crystal Squadron, hit them from above," Rick ordered. The Battle of Haven began with a surprise that shocked the Draconian fleet. The Federation fighters didn't attack. Like any Council species they had fought before. Instead of charging straight ahead, they split up and attacked from 6 different directions at once. Rick's own fighter dove under a Draconian cruiser, his quantum torpedoes finding weak spots in the enemy's armor that computer analysis had identified. The cruiser's shields flickered and failed as multiple fighters concentrated their fire on the same target. Captain Amy Cooper arrived with the main fleet just as the first Draconian ship exploded. Her flagship, the HSF Endeavor, emerged from hyperspace with 20 other Federation ships behind her. "This is Captain Cooper of the Federation Navy," she broadcast to the Draconian fleet. "You are attacking civilians under Federation protection. Surrender now or face the consequences." General Voss watched in disbelief as his ships were outmaneuvered and outgunned by the human fleet. His heavy cruisers, built to overwhelm enemy ships with massive firepower, couldn't target the fast-moving Federation vessels. "How are they so fast?" he demanded. His tactical officer checked the sensors again. "Sir, their ships are using some kind of advanced engine system. They're moving 30% faster than our best ships. And their weapons? They're cutting through our armor like it's not even there." The battle lasted only 4 hours. When it ended, 8 Draconian ships were destroyed and the rest were either captured or fleeing back to Council space. Not a single Federation ship was lost and Haven Colony was safe. Captain Cooper stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, watching Draconian survivors being rescued from their damaged ships. "Treat the prisoners well," she ordered. "The Federation doesn't kill defeated enemies." The news of the Battle of Haven spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within days, every species knew that the Human Federation had defeated a major Council fleet with ease. The humans that the Council had banished as dangerous were now protecting innocent worlds from Council aggression. Admiral Foster's broadcast to the galaxy was heard on every inhabited world. "The Federation offers protection to all peaceful species who want freedom from Council oppression. We will not attack anyone, but we will defend ourselves and our allies from aggression." The effect was immediate and dramatic. 12 star systems declared independence from the Council in the first week after the battle. By the end of the month, entire sectors were requesting Federation membership. The Council's emergency session was chaos. The same aliens who had voted to banish humanity 23 years earlier now faced an empire that had grown larger and more powerful than their worst nightmares. The Zephyrian Councilor's crystal form flickered with stress patterns. "The humans have destroyed a Draconian fleet. Species throughout our territory are abandoning us to join their Federation. We must attack them with everything we have," General Voss roared, his scaled face twisted with rage, "before they become too powerful to stop." But other Council members were not so sure. Intelligence reports showed that the Federation now controlled territory spanning 67 star systems. Their military was advanced beyond anything the Council possessed. Most importantly, they were winning because other species wanted to join them. Perhaps, suggested the Centaurian ambassador, we should consider negotiation. The draconian general hissed with anger. Negotiate with exiles? Never. But his voice was alone. Too many council species were seeing their own colonies and trade. Partners leave to join the Federation. The empire built on fear and control was crumbling, as species chose freedom over oppression. 6 months after the Battle of Haven, former Ambassador John Carter stood once again in the Galactic Council chamber. But this time, he wasn't pleading for humanity's place in their civilization. He was offering the Council a chance to join the new galaxy that the Federation was building. Honorable counselors, John said, his voice calm and confident. 23. Years ago, you banished humanity because you feared we would change your galaxy. You were right. We have changed it. The question now is whether you want to be part of that change, or if you want to be left behind by it. The chamber was silent. Outside, Federation ships waited not as conquerors, but as the representatives of a new age. An age where species worked together as equals, where freedom mattered more than control, and where the greatest empire in galactic history had been built not through conquest, but through the revolutionary idea that everyone deserved a chance to reach for the stars. The council that had tried to end humanity's story had instead given birth to the greatest chapter in galactic history.